Travels through all layers of Earth, all layers of Earth. And the primary compound that we're going to focus on is carbon dioxide, okay? Really, carbon, like nitrogen, has several compounds. So here's where the create your own images kicks in. I don't want a compound of carbon dioxide or a word that says carbon dioxide. I want you to create something to represent carbon dioxide in your animation, right? So this is where your own images come in. Backgrounds, again, bring them from online. But carbon mainly cycles as carbon dioxide, and it's going to cycle through all layers of Earth. There's other compounds that we're going to talk about, but mainly carbon dioxide. All of these ways are ways carbon dioxide enters the atmosphere. What are they? You've learned a couple. How does carbon dioxide get into the atmosphere? Burning of fossil fuels. Good job. Plants play a role in taking in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, right? Psst. How else does carbon dioxide enter the atmosphere? Look at my picture. It shows you. Water, actually, yes. Pollution. What? We need more specific.
Human.
Yeah. What happens to garbage?
We breathe out.
Yes. Breathing out. Respiration. Good. What happens to garbage, Talia? Can you tell me? Whoops. Wrong one.
Volcanoes.
Whoops. Wrong one again. Respiration. Volcanoes. Good job. What happens to garbage? What happens when you throw garbage piles? What happens to it? We either burn it and it decomposes. Good job. Released by what? Yes. So once it's in the atmosphere, two things can happen. It can either go into the ocean, okay, or it can enter plants. I am going to go through the ocean first. Can it enter a plant in the ocean? Yes. But carbon dioxide is kind of unique because it could get dissolved by the ocean. So there's a lot of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, and the oceans dissolve the carbon dioxide. And then what sits in there, anybody know what Ca is? Calcium. It's going to react with calcium. When you think of the word calcium, what first comes to your mind? Bones. Good job. It's going to form milk, and you think of milk and you think of bones. It's going to form calcium carbonate, which actually makes shells and bones, and then it makes limestone at the end. So if you're going to start with carbon dioxide in your atmosphere, it could enter the ocean, react with calcium, and form bones, and you just did the carbon cycle in the water. So if carbon doesn't enter the ocean, it gets absorbed by plants. Yes? And then what happens? Photosynthesis. What is involved in photosynthesis besides carbon dioxide? The sun or light. You see it. What else? What else do plants take in? Water. And what do they make? They make oxygen and what else? Sugar. What kind of sugar? Glucose. Which is, look, the most important part of your animation. We're talking about the carbon cycle. Here's my carbon compound, and here's my carbon compound. Carbon dioxide is taken in by plants with water and light, and they make glucose and oxygen. The two most important things in your life: the food you eat and the air you breathe. That's why plants are so important. Once a plant has the carbon dioxide, the same thing happens as in the phosphorus and sulfur. The food chain begins. Animals, Animals eat the plants. Then they die or excrete waste. And who returns it? Who returns the carbon dioxide back into the cycle?
The plants.
Really? Okay, let's go over this again. We eat the plant. We either die or excrete waste. How does the carbon get back into the cycle? We died. How does it get back into the cycle? What happens when you die, people? What do we call these worms that eat you?
Maggots.
What do we call maggots that eat you?
Scavengers.
Keep going. That's not it. Thank you.
I literally said decay. I was close.
Decaying is the process where decomposers, which could be bacteria, maggots, not scavengers. Scavengers feed and they eat off your remains. They don't give back. When they excrete waste or die, then the decomposers break them down and put the nutrients back into the soil. Nitrogen cycle has 5 steps. 5 steps. Again, it's a cycle. Look at how it's all over the place. There's no starting point. There's no end point. It's wherever you want to start. I'm going to start with nitrogen in the atmosphere. Why do you think I chose nitrogen in the atmosphere as a starting point? What do you remember from nitrogen in the atmosphere? 70%. Good job. It's a big percentage of our atmosphere. 78% of our atmosphere is nitrogen. So I'm going to start where there's a lot of it, okay? Here's the punchline. That nitrogen gas is not usable to most organisms. Only 2 organisms can actually convert nitrogen gas into some usable form by other organisms. This process is called nitrogen fixation right here. So the first step that I'm going to cover is nitrogen fixation, where I take nitrogen gas and I turn it in, to, and I'm going to make this easier for you. Let's just say ammonia. Let's change this to ammonia. And let's not even worry about compounds. Let's worry about the names. And you're going to make compounds into whatever you want. Nitrogen gas, make it you. Ammonia, make it your friend. It doesn't matter. Your nitrogen cycle can be all about me and my friends. Okay? And then you do have to say who does it. Cyanobacteria does it in the water, and Rhizobium bacteria does it on land. You can choose one or the other. You don't have to show it happening in both places. So it's either going to go from the atmosphere to the hydrosphere, or it's going to go from the atmosphere to the geosphere. Okay? By the way, you see this lightning? It also does it. Lightning also converts nitrogen. You have to use an organism conversion, not lightning. So go ahead and scratch that out. And remember, you either have to mention this guy or this guy. All right, next step. What? Not lightning. So we're starting with ammonia now. Ammonia gets converted by bacteria into, and we're just going to leave it at nitrates. We're not going to say anything else. Ammonia gets converted by bacteria into nitrates. This happens in the soil. So you could be in the soil of the ocean, or you could be in the soil of land. But once ammonia is made, it's in the soil, and there's bacteria in the soil. You see my ammonia right here? And there's bacteria, and it makes nitrates. Okay? And then I'm going to just jump here. I'm not even going to uncover that little thing. Nitrates can go through what's called assimilation. We're not going to uncover that. Let's go here. Okay? So we're starting with nitrates. Where are we? In the soil. Okay? Ammonia was turned into nitrates in the soil. Who's going to take in the nitrates? Plants. Plants are going to take in the nitrates, and they're going to make what we call nitrogen-rich organic compounds. Look at my pictures of nitrogen-rich organic compounds. What are they? Who's seen these pictures? This. What is this stuff?
Oh, that's
DNA.
double helix.
Good. RNA, the single nucleic acid, and this is protein. So plants take the nitrogen, the nitrates, and they actually make the important things we need in our body, which is protein and DNA. And then as every cycle, the food chain begins. Yes? Yes. We eat the plant, and then what's going to happen? What happens after we eat, people? Yes, we're going to jump right here. Skip a slide. Don't say wait, just skip a slide. Organisms feed off a plant. Same, the plant can die, what else? Huh? Its leaves fall off. What happens when plants die or their leaves fall off, or we die or we excrete waste? There you go. Say it with confidence, girl. Decomposers break down the nitrogen-rich compounds back into ammonia. And the cycle starts over. Done.